You're a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Once again, it's the first 10 days of the month, so it's time for me to give out my tier list for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. The first time for 2020, I hope everyone is having a great year so far. Real quick, the tier list will be based on the Duel Links ranked only, so no tournaments involved, and also I will be providing an explanation for every single deck on my list. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Tier 3, the first deck I have here is Ritual Beasts. A sudden drop in the tier list because last month I had them tier 1. Still a strong force on the ladder, but with the latest boxes bringing in new meta decks, it has lost some of its momentum and now has more competition, of course. As I said in my last video, I think it's one of those decks that don't seem to leave the tier list anytime soon, if something drastic doesn't happen in the metagame, of course. Next, I have Cyber Dragon. I don't believe this moment has come where Cyber Dragon is in the meta. Obviously, a really famous archetype for which the new box gave some incredibly needed support and has now made it not a meme, but a force to be reckoned with. This deck can damage your life points pretty easily with its various fusion monsters with huge attack stats and can also OTK you. Cyber Dragon Core is of course one of the cards the deck needed a lot, but Cybernetic Overflow is helping the deck tremendously with its distraction effect. Next up, I have Crystons. After a month leaving them off the tier list, now they're back. They got some new helpful support, although nothing to shoot them up to top tier, but enough to keep them relevant, I would say. The deck has some important flaws like I have mentioned before, and they are also weak to Sealed Tombs, one of the most popular skills in the game, and that fact is not helping the deck at all. The pairing with Transcended Crystals is still going strong, and most Crystal decks also seem to run over 20 card builds. Lastly, for tier 3, I have Thunder Dragons, another deck that received great support from the newest box, and to be completely honest, I was hesitant to put it on the list at first. They got a boss monster that can be summoned relatively in a simple way and can be destructive afterwards and also is searchable. Like Crystons, this deck can suffer from consistency problems, and that is probably its greatest problem right now. If you break in the current meta, you most likely lose. Thunder Dragons do have a good matchup against some top tier decks, and that's why I think they deserve this spot for the month. The deck is new and still doesn't have a clear build, but the potential is apparent. While it has the good matchup, it also has quite a few bad ones, so I won't by any means put it any higher for now. Definitely a deck to keep an eye out for the next couple of weeks. Moving on to tier 2, and the first deck in this tier is Invoked Element Sabers. Everyone flamed me for putting them in tier 2 last month, but my opinion stands for this month as well. The deck has a stable build, has consistency, and of course can do great on the ladder, but after every new box it does lose a little bit of steam. Artifact Lancia that arrived in the new box creates problems for the deck, and will be interesting to see how much popularity it gains for that. And of course we still have Dark Lords running supreme that create the most problems for Invoked Element Sabers. Still a great deck to play though. Then I have Black Wings, a deck that from the time it came out has impacted the meta in a big way, and I would say it is one of the few decks, maybe even the only deck that has a favorable matchup most of the time against Dark Lords. But the new decks will make Black Wing users think about their builds a bit. We probably won't see any major changes though. Next up we have Dark Magician, two birds with one stone from Konami, Cyber Dragon, and now Dark Magician in the meta. Dark Magician got the long-awaited Dark Magician Circle and now has the opportunity for amazing opening plays paired up with navigation, of course. I consider the deck a great utility box. It seems like Dark Magician has a trick for everything. But now you would ask, since it has so much, why isn't it tier 1? I think that especially with beatdown nerfed, the deck can struggle against high attack or defense monsters sometimes, and in addition to that, the struggles against Cosmic Cyclone become inevitable now with a continuous spell in play. Keep in mind, Dark Magician's tools and potential haven't reached their ceiling yet, so we have a lot more to see from this deck, I am sure. And finally, we have tier 1. Dark Lords, of course, are here. What more can I say about this deck? The king is still on the throne and now has Artifact Lancia to use as well that greatly helps against Invoked Element Sabers, Ritual Beasts, and Shiranui all at once, if room of course can be made for it. Even without it, the deck is still on top and dictates other deck placements in the tier list as well. Next I have Shiranui, another new addition to my tier lists that came out in the most recent mini box. Shiranui is a great synchro control deck, another deck that is based around banishing in the meta, so it has some of the same weaknesses like other decks we already discussed. The deck has space for generic back row staples like Canadia, Floodgate, and even Enemy Controller, which can make the deck even scarier sometimes. The engine is probably the most consistent synchro engine that we currently have available, along with Blackwings. And that is it for my first tier list for 2020. I hope once again everyone's having a great year so far, and I want to thank everyone for the support in 2019. Big plans for the channel this year, so I hope you all stay tuned with a subscribe. Also, leave a like if you enjoy these monthly tier list videos and leave your opinion in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, see you in the next one.